Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro claims victory in an election many are calling a sham. Hello, I'm Nathan King, sitting in for Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. Hello again. For Nicolas Maduro, last Sunday's victory put in place a new legislative body with the power to rewrite the country's constitution and solidify his power. It comes at a time of deep economic uncertainty, with shortages of basic necessities, record murders, and according to one study, nearly 87% of the population unable to afford basic foods. In the 4 months leading up to the vote, at least 125 people have been killed as thousands have taken to the streets in protest. For more, we turn to CGTN's Stephen Gibbs in Caracas. Stephen, thanks so much for joining us. Maduro is claiming victory from that election, while, of course, the United States, European Union and other countries have called the vote essentially rigged, refusing to recognize the new Constituent Assembly. The US has already announced additional sanctions on Maduro himself. What do we know, the latest on the controversy surrounding the results, and what's going to happen next?
Well, Nathan, yeah, I mean, first of all, it does look like most of the world is against Venezuela, but it's not the entire world. There are a few countries that are supporting it: Cuba, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Russia. They've all said in their view, the Constituent Assembly is all absolutely fine. But in terms of the controversy, well, first of all, it's about the number. The government here said 8 million people voted for this Constituent Assembly. It was a vote that the opposition didn't take part in. And the question really is, how did they get that number? A lot of people think that number is a bit suspicious, given in 2015, the last time there was a serious vote here, only 5.6 million people voted for the government. And since then, we're in the middle of the biggest recession. President Maduro is not a popular man. So immediately the opposition cried foul, and a lot of governments around the world have supported it. The question really now is how does it all go forward? The government says it is absolutely convinced that the number it's given is fair, but then we had this additional twist to the whole thing this morning in London, when the CEO of Smartmatic, a company that makes electronic voting machines, it said that it believed that the vote was not fair, that according to its research it was a million out, and that gave a whole lot of support to the opposition, and again those countries that think this is all a bit of a fix. In the last hour or so, Nathan, we've had a response from the government according to what the electronic voting machine manufacturer said. It said this is nonsense. It believes that 10 million people here try to take part in the Constituent Assembly, and it's suggesting that the company has made its remarks for commercial reasons.
And obviously the opposition boycotted that vote as well. In the aftermath of this election, 2 of Venezuela's leading opposition figures have actually been put in jail. What's the latest on that, Stephen?
Well, that's right. That was overnight on Monday that at dawn, and this was just after sanctions had been put on President Maduro, just after, in fact, he'd announced the results of that election. At dawn, 2 of the people here, opposition politicians, were under house arrest. One, Antonio Ledesma, he found security agents walk into his house in the early hours of the night. He was dragged out. He was still in his pajamas when they arrived, and off he went. He hasn't been heard of since. The government has suggested he may be in a military jail. A few minutes after that, across town, Leopoldo Lopez, another very well-known internationally and well-known opposition politician. He's only just come out of jail. He was under house arrest. Again, the security agents went into his house, bundled him off. And what does this all suggest? It really does suggest that some of those elements we were getting in the last few weeks and months, suggesting that perhaps there was a bit of opportunity for mediation between the government and the opposition, that seems to have all fallen apart, with Maduro clamping down on the opposition not trusting a word he says. So very difficult times ahead, and this is when supposedly this Constituent Assembly was meant to solve all this. According to the government, it says it's going to bring peace and reconciliation to the country, but certainly here on the ground it doesn't seem to be doing that yet. Nathan.
Thanks, Stephen. Great sum up of what's going on. That's CGTN's Stephen Gibbs reporting from Caracas, Venezuela.